Hello, and welcome to Germantown Municipal Television's special coverage of Election 2020. My name is Colin Cardo, a student at Houston High, and I'm excited to bring you interviews with Germantown Board of Education candidates. Joining me now is the only candidate for the Board of Education Position 5, Amy Oaf. Ms. Oaf is in the Position 5 incumbent. She also has 2 children in GMSD. Ms. Oaf has been a teacher in Maryland as well as served on the PTA board at Dogwood, where she earned the PTA Lifetime Award in 2015. Ms. Oaf is here to give us some insight into her future plans as a Board of Education member for the city of Germantown. Ms. Oaf, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Colin.
So if you'd like to start off, just tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Absolutely. Like you said, I'm an incumbent for the school board. Currently, I'm serving as vice chair. I was elected in 2016 for my first time. I have 3 children, 2 of whom are at Houston High School, and then one who graduated last year. She was in the class of 2020, so right now she's at Mississippi State, starting her freshman year of college. My husband and I grew up here in Germantown, and we returned here when we wanted to raise our family. Right now, something a little different from 4 years ago. I have a part-time job. I'm working as a part-time newborn hearing screener, so now I'm working with all stages of life, from newborn all the way up to high schoolers with the school board. So that's been a fun and different experience, just kind of to give me a different view of things and a new outlet.
What compelled you to run for office?
Initially, 4 years ago, I ran for office because I felt like there was a voice missing from the table, the voice of the stakeholder. I felt like they needed someone there to speak up about some decisions that were being made and to ask some tough questions. I felt like I've done that, and at this time I think we still need that. I think the decisions we're going to be making in the next 4 years will be as critical as the ones we've made in the last 4 years. So I'm excited because we just passed our strategic plan this past school board meeting for the next 5 years. And there's a lot of wonderful stuff in it. So I'm really excited to serve in the next 4 years to help see that come to fruition.
How do you keep the safeties of students a priority?
Safety is one of the top priorities for our district. And the reason is we've seen everything from school shootings during the last 4 years to cyberbullying to now coronavirus. So safety takes a multifaceted look, and if we don't have safe students can't learn. Unsafe students can't learn. Students who don't feel like they're secure in their environment aren't focused on material that they're supposed to be engaging in. And so it's essential that we provide that. We have done a lot in the last 4 years. We've added cameras to our schools. We've created secure entrances at all but one of our schools. Houston Middle School still needs a secure entrance, and that's a huge need that needs to be addressed quickly. And then on the other side of that, with coronavirus, I know y'all have probably seen a lot of what's been done with the spacing, the required masks, the extra cleaning that's going on. All of that has to deal with safety. Cyberbullying and cyber safety becomes even more important as we move into remote learning. So many of you are on the computer for your classes in the high school 3 days a week or 5 days a week, depending on which one you are. Same thing in the middle school, and then in elementary school they use it either full-time or in the school classroom, and we want to make sure our kids are safe online as well. So we've provided, I know, some classes, some different things for teachers to equip them to provide that level of safety for cyber safety. But going back a little bit, I think what we are going to need to start doing more is incorporating the student voice in some of these things. We aren't in the classroom every day. So I want us to hear more from the student, particularly in high school, about what are you seeing in the hallways? Are you feeling safe? Are you feeling safe socio-emotionally? Are you feeling safe physically? And are we doing all we can to address that?
Yes, ma'am. Social emotional health is key for students to learn at their full potential. How do you see the district fulfilling that obligation?
I'll speak a little bit to that personally. There's so much to that to unpack. I have dealt with anxiety all of my life since I was a child, and not just, I'm nervous about a test, but more generalized diagnosable anxiety. I didn't get assistance with that until I was an adult. My hope is that we can provide resources for our students as young as possible so that they don't have to struggle to figure out how to cope on their own. We've seen an uptick in anxiety and depression in students, and it goes to younger and younger ages. This has been an area of concern for the board since before COVID hit. And now that COVID's hit and we're in isolation for a period of time, people were removed from their communities of support, this becomes even more essential. I'm concerned as kids are, half in, half out, or not in their community at all, that we're not necessarily catching all the kids who need help. So I know the district office is working very hard to try to find ways to make those connections for these kids and for the families, because families also struggle in times like this. We've had some webinars that have gone on. I think that's wonderful for parents. I know teachers have been asked to kind of pay attention to students. Are you seeing students, on your online classes regularly? Just touch base with them. How are they doing? But overall, I think we're going to need to see a stronger focus in the next 4 years in social emotional. We're going to need more guidance counselors and social workers. We're going to need a stronger community partnership with the resources that we already have out there. I think there's more we can do, but I think we already know and have prioritized it as a board. We just need to grow in that area.
As the district continues to grow, what's your vision of expansion in the future?
Yes. So there's two kinds of growth. We need to deal with actual physical growth, and then we also need to deal with programmatic growth. Physical growth, we are already overcrowded at the middle school level. Riverdale is close to, if not at capacity, Riverdale Middle, and then we're also dealing with Houston Middle School. It's over capacity. It's full. We needed that expansion yesterday. Unfortunately, the funding is not there for us to provide it. My hope is we will get that funding quickly, sooner rather than later, so that we can deal with the overcrowding in the middle school. The other thing that's changed is we've gained the land behind Houston High School, which gives all kinds of possibilities for growth, particularly in areas of sports. My hope is we'll also incorporate the arts in that. I think we'll definitely see a new softball field for our Lady Mustangs. I think we'll be looking at other sports and needs and areas of growth in that area in order to develop out that land. But I would love to see growth in the arts in an area of the auditorium. It really needs renovation and expansion. Our orchestra room needs to be larger. Our choir room needs to be larger. There are all kinds of things. Now, when you look at programmatic changes, I would like to see some growth in some of our CTE classes and availabilities. There's been some discussion about CTE and education, kind of a future teachers type class. There's been some discussion about maybe incorporating additional arts classes like dancing is a possibility. So there are some programmatic things. There's also some things that we need to talk to the students about in this area. What are your interests? What are you hearing from other students in other schools? Activities, clubs, classes that are being provided elsewhere that maybe we're not seeing. So I would like to see us incorporate a school board member as a student school board member. This would be a non-voting member, but that person could provide for us the student perspective in these decisions that we're not getting right now. So hopefully in the next year or so, we'll start to see that movement.
We do have about 45 seconds left.
Okay, sorry.
The Germantown Municipal School District is one of the best in the state. How do you plan to strengthen the communication between the Board of Mayor Aldermen and the Board of Education and increase support for our schools?
I am very hopeful that the alderman candidates that are running right now understand the value that the schools provide to the city. We will have 3 brand new aldermen, whoever is elected. And I think they all understand that the schools are an asset. But I think the voters need to be asking those hard questions of those candidates. How do you support the schools? In what ways do you plan to support the schools? What do you see funding looking like from the city for the schools? And hopefully if the voters are asking those questions and support those alderman candidates in that way, we'll have a stronger relationship in the coming years.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have for this interview. I'd like to thank my guest, Amy Oath, who is running for Germantown Board of Education Position 5. If you'd like to watch more of our election coverage, please follow us on Facebook and YouTube at Germantown Municipal Television. You can watch us on Comcast Channel 17, AT&T Uverse Channel 99, and on our YouTube page. We'll be back with more interviews from Germantown Board of Education candidates.